Hello, everybody! Salutations, friends. I like that. I don't know how many people are here specifically for this talk and how many are here for other things, but the talk that I'm doing on cable lacing is going to be primarily a physical, practical, hands-on experience. And I can't wait to give you that experiential moment. So let's talk about cable lacing briefly. I'm going to show you some pics. I'm going to talk less, and then we're going to get our hands. I'll get our hands dirty. All right. So, cable lacing. Very simply, the types of lacing techniques I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how to be able to assemble and route your cables in such a way that you can see where your cables go. So, on one end will be identical to the other, and it'll be done in a neat and professional fashion. So, if you have bundles. Oh, half my images are missing. Okay, so if you have bundles, then if you have a bundle, say of 4x4 image of cables, then the cable at position X2 and Y2 will be the exact same cable as the one at X2, Y2 on the other end. So that's the idea. All right, so this may be a little much, but we're going to give it a go. So what are we going to learn today? So we're going to learn the box stitch. Which is this. This is the simplest of stitches. It's a way of basically getting two things at right angles to point together. So this is what it looks like in real life. This is from the top. So this would be what you'd be mounting your cable to, and then this would be the cable. So you can see the way that it works. Very, very simple. Box stitch keeps everything nice at 90 degrees. Next up is the running lock stitch. I use this all of the time. For example, at the house, I have a large light with a magnifier that I use to do surface mount, and I have a webcam attached to the head of that, and I run the USB cable along the arm and then down the other arm, and also another set of cables also for a microphone. And so I use this type of stitch to keep those cables out of the way. So that means I can move the arm around and not have to worry about jamming or cutting or otherwise complicating things with cables. Branch termination. The idea is when you have, for example, you have several cables in a row here, and you just want to pull one of them out, then you create a stress point. So the idea of branch termination is that you make this part stronger than everything else, so then that one cable can come out without any risk of causing issues. And then the types of stitch which allow you to do that XY configuration that I was talking about. There are two competing stitches. They're both much of a muchness. It's basically about what you feel most comfortable doing. They are identical in function. This one is called the Kansas City stitch. If you can see from the diagram, they have quite literally taken a bulk, a set of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they've got an 8x8 array of cables. So that's 64 cables in an XY configuration, and you can see that they rotate them 90 degrees and then split them off. So the ability to take that set of 8x8, rotate it 90 degrees without any of the ordering changing, that's a function of this type of stitch, the Kansas City stitch. The other kind is the Chicago stitch, which is my personal favorite. And that is probably the one I think most people will like. Let me show you the difference in how they appear, because we're all about aesthetics, right? So this is what the Kansas City stitch looks like when I'm doing it 2x2. This is actually... Oops, here we go. So this would be what you'd be attaching it to, and then these would be the cables. So this is basically separating them in groups of 4 and supporting them that way, and this is the Kansas City. And then this is the Chicago stitch where I'm doing it 2x2. You can do 4x4 as well using this and the other, but I much prefer this. Which one you use is really going to depend on which one you're most comfortable with. Functionally, they are pretty much identical. All right. tools and supplies I have brought for people to learn and practice with. Lacing cord or lacing tape. So this is lacing cord. It is basically nylon string. Hang on. It is basically a nylon cord, and it is covered in wax, which means it's a little bit sticky. And so the advantage that this has over evil cable ties is that in order to keep a cable still and to keep, your structure, solid using cable ties, you have to have them tight. And of course, when you have cables tight, you have risk of damaging them, especially when you're talking about things like fiber, which is really does not like being tightened. So this is this is lacing cord, so string and wax. There's a competing type called lacing tape, which is identical, except it's completely flat. I really don't like lacing tape, which is why I don't have any to show you. And then the other thing you need is a needle, a lacing needle. I prefer the curved, so this is a lacing needle. And you see it has a hook on the end. I'm not going to pick my nose with as tempting as that is. There is a hole at the end, and basically what you use that for is, if I show you, if you were to add another line of cables, you would use this to go under. Hang on. Yep, I will. Okay, so you would use that to go under, and then you would place, the new cord under here in the hook, and then you would pull it through, and then that would allow you to then start putting more on top of that. So that's really what this tool is for. And that, believe it or not, is the entire content of my slides. So, how to do cable lacing. So I've drawn you 2 circles. Now the rest of you can go ahead and draw an owl. So, practicality. Could you put your hands up if you're planning on doing the physical, mechanical, actually practicing this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sweet, I have enough, easily. All right, so what I have are these plastic rods instead of cables, because they are, they're easier to transport and easier to handle, but they work the same way, and they're also pretty much the same diameter as RJ45. I have a couple of rolls of lacing tape, and I have a couple of needles. And I will go ahead and I will show you how to do each of these stitches, and hopefully by the time we're done, everyone should be able to replicate all of these. So that's it. Let's make some groups and find some tables. So if we use that table there and this table here, and can we use that table over there? We'll get people around those, and I'll start distributing supplies, and we'll get with the practical. Thank you.